All right, I'm here with Korleone Young. How you doing, Korleone?
I'm doing good, big dog. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Good to see you.
You too.
Got a nice building, nice studio. I like this.
Beautiful studio, Troy Trussell Media. So I just came across your story. I don't even remember how I came across it, but I didn't know about you until last year sometime, which I think is a shame because I think you have a really cool story. You made it to the league. That's awesome. I think that's motivating for Wichita. A Wichita kid can make it. So really, and then I think we ran into each other
Any
at the
kid
Hoop
can
Jam.
make it.
Oh, for sure.
From anywhere.
This is the Wichita Live podcast, so we'll give some inspiration.
We got to shout out ICT.
Absolutely. So if you were to introduce yourself, who is Korleone Young?
He is a strong, had to grow and develop that strong, will-minded, meaning that being able to go into a tunnel vision and focus personnel. Very giving and motivating of people. I've been a people person. I don't know if it's just from being an only child and not having siblings, but I mean, I take attached to people that I meet. Some people would say he's very open, under certain understandings and, of course, relationships. Who walks up to a stranger and spills it? But that's when you're doing your motivational speak. So that's the Korleone that you have right now. It's developed into a hope and pray, what you would call it. I'm trying to find a perfect word to just kill the podcast, but enduring, man. Every day he's the most enduring individual because when you do some of the things I've done in basketball, you're never going to be out of the talk. Basketball will be played forever. The different situations that I went through with basketball still go on now. And so it's just a recurring door. So I hope that I can be something of motivation to people also, not just in basketball, but like we started off just kidding. Any kid can make it.
Yeah.
I think that day in the incubator room, December 31st, 1978, I always make this analogy to just how if you're good to yourself and good to God and good to people around you, in that incubating room, he's just going around saying, okay, he's going to be a doctor, he's going to be a lawyer. He just hit my hand and said he's going to play basketball.
Sure. So, Sure. I think one of the things that stood out, so I was meaning to reach out to you for a while, and then I saw you at the Hoop Jam game that Festive ICT put on, and we were walking out. I'm like, all right, I gotta shoot my shot, and it took me a while to actually get you on the podcast. On my fault, drop the ball. You gave me your number right away, but I think one of the things that stood out when I first met you was how intentional you were. Obviously looking me in the eye, but made me feel special in the 20 seconds that we talked.
Well, I knew about the podcast.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
I had seen it, and that event was there as a motivating event. It was for kids, and so for you to be there, I knew where your heart was. So when we outside, I see your sweatshirt, you were wearing it. I said, hey, listen, good podcast, keep doing it, use it for the right purpose, man. Absolutely. And it's to bring people together, to break barriers, build bridges, and all that, So when you asked me to come on, I was like, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to start off, your time in Wichita growing up. I know you're a Wichita native. I think that's awesome. But first, before we get to that, what was your first basketball goal made out of? I listened to a lot of podcasts, read some interviews.
And I have to honestly be honest, my grandpa, he built one. So he, got a huge stud. And he went and bought a wooden, like a plywood, but a thicker grade, squared it, bought a rim, hammered it. He painted it all white, concreted it, put two pillars to help stand it. And that was my first goal.
That's awesome.
Besides hangers in the house and playing on the closet door outside, that was it. And he set that thing in the driveway.
Yeah.
From that, it was over.
When did you fall in love with basketball?
I always loved it. I started playing when I was 5.
Yeah.
I started playing biddy when I was 5. So 5 years old, I loved the game. My older cousins played, so I seen them playing. And so I just wanted to play.
Yeah, for sure. You brought up biddy ball. So I played a couple years of biddy ball. So I grew up out in Andover. So I played in the Andover Rec League, which the level of competition is a lot different than biddy ball. And my first, they do their preseason tournament, and there's I think it's blue 1, blue 2, red 1, red 2, whatever. The way they had it structured back in the day, and we definitely should have been in like, I don't know, Red 2 maybe. We were in the preseason tournament.
You had to push yourself.
We did, but so the first game, we played a team. They only had 4 guys. The 5th guy didn't show up, so they had to forfeit, but we went ahead and played the game anyways. We still got smacked by about 30. And so then we played an even better team, and I remember their name. They were called the Wizards. And for whatever reason, I think this was 6th grade, I think we were playing on a 9-foot goal for some reason, whatever. But these kids were dunking every other play.
And biddy, remember how it was. There was a height limit, so when we on biddy, I had to stop playing in the 5th grade due to the height limit.
Oh, see, I didn't know.
So that was yeah. I mean, I grew up playing 5th grade. 5 years old, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 9 and 10. And when it came to 11 and 12, I only got to play one to my 5th grade year. And so this is when I started playing in the park board. But you used to play biddy up until the 6th grade, I believe, or 7th, because you only could play 8th grade basketball there.
Right.
And so they used to try to traditionally bring you up on the standardization nationally of the goals. So it would go from like 7 to 8.5.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Well, 6 foot, 5 and 6. Remember, all the refs were taller than the goals in the 5 and 6, because that's just a 6 foot goal.
Sure.
And then you go to 7 foot, then they went to 8.5. So that's why you were playing on that. Seemed like
that makes sense,
goal.
but they were dunking all over us, and it was ugly, but it was fun though. That was a good time.
Biddy was a great program.
Yeah. Do you know, like, is there anything like that today? I mean, they have AAU or whatever else, but nothing like Biddy is.
What has happened, if you have to be honest, is the Y came and kind of capitalized on that version of it. Organized, fellowship.
Sure.
But it took the sports in a different turn.
Well, I think one of the coolest parts was like you walk in the lobby and it's like all of the names and like the records and the winning teams and the pictures. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's like a little time capsule.
Biddy was the best. It was awesome. The best fundamentally, bringing kids up. But it was something deeper socially. What we couldn't even see. I don't even know if our parents seen it. Right. It was socially diverse in those kids together. Yeah. Salvation Army wasn't crazy. They know what humanity requires. Right. It requires kids growing up together, learning together, playing together. So even though the East and the West Side were separated, and that was due to geographical issues with parents going to that side of town Sure. Town was much smaller then either. Wichita was smaller. Yeah. So, but what it did was it built kids up in a competitive nature, 1, 2, but it taught the advancement. Fair playing fields, The why is something that tried to fill that void, like I say, but it's hard to step in those shoes. It's hard. For sure, yeah. So they do try. They have competitive leagues. They have the non-competitive for the beginners. So somewhere for them to play, somewhere for something for them to do. I mean, you can't complain. Right. Yeah, for sure. But it's never gonna be like it was.
Yeah, that was cool. I was definitely towards the tail end of it, but those were good times.
Man, I used to love the banquets. Right across the street, Century 2, you come in and see parents get there 3-4 hours early, and they bought the bouquets, and they've had all these meetings, and you bring this, you bring that, I bring this, and they just put together these masterpieces. And remember, they would judge on the highest balloon to the top. It was just something but at that time, everybody got rewarded, which is not something that I'm just pushing, but we were all in the same building together. Yeah. You competed together, but then you fellowshipped and celebrated together. There was no team had their own, we're going to bring all the food to the banquet, we're going to bring the cake, and then we're going to do it there. And so some teams used to say, well, we're going to do it bigger than them this year. So and it just, it brings that spirit. Sure. That's sports.
Yeah, I love it. Hopefully something kind of steps in and builds some community like that, because I think that was special.
What's going to happen is these kids are getting much younger. Well, I don't know how much of the feeder system will grow, in what direction, the why. If there's something else that comes along, that'll just be a division of competitive versus academy level stepping up, that's how it should be. Right.
Yeah, for sure. So when did you start playing like AAU ball, or like when did you start like traveling?
We started traveling 6th grade, 7th, but then I really started traveling in the 8th grade. I played on the 17 and under team where Gary Cundiff was our coach. with Chuck Gunner and D'Angelo Evans and Sean Rhodes, my boy Brendan Lipton, John Rapp. Man, we had a squad. I mean, you know, the best in Wichita.
Yeah, for sure.
If somebody was on the All-City first team, there were a couple players that went and played out of Kansas City then. But that was my first year playing on 17 and under. We went to travel around the nation. We finished up in like a Long Beach tournament, which was called the finale and stuff. So this is where I kind of got a name, got ranked in the nation, and the real journey started then. Probably around my 8th grade year.
Okay. Where did you go to middle school at?
Robinson.
Robinson. Okay, that makes sense.
I went to Mueller and Robinson.
Yeah. So I guess how different was like high school ball versus AAU ball? Because like AAU, obviously you're traveling, playing these other kids, which was probably like
night and day.
Best kids in Wichita.
Now you can't tell because they all look like, even the high school looks like some AAU the way they just play now. But traditionally it was just two totally different concepts and mindsets. One required this mindset in the summer, and one required high school mindset required your coach's mindset. You better be on point with what we're doing here.
Sure.
And combining those two was tough and hard. Rest in peace, Coach Allen was the best to do it. I mean, not just because he was my coach, and of course I'm arguably the best, but he showed people how to combine the two. I traveled the nation, traveled everywhere, and came back to East, and still was able to be successful on the same level that we were nationally. We actually took our East High team to St. Louis nationally, competed against the top 25. I think we got up to number 12 in the nation, or between 12 to 15, something like that. But we had jumped up to the top 15 in the nation, and we were just a high school. There was a lot of prep schools and all these big schools. We were just East High.
That's pretty cool.
And we went to St. Louis, KMOX tournament in the Kiel Center. Huge. And I mean, we represented, we put it down. And so this is where it kind of like, some people won't understand where the basketball in Wichita started to make a change. But it was after my seniors, juniors, years like that brought the height to this city, showcasing, man, that's where Korleone is from. Got to be more. And so now it's just, it opened it. And now we had players that were able to have success even to this day. But at one point in time, Wichita was just the city along the Bible Belt, on the way to Kansas City and on the way to Oklahoma City. And they jumped and skipped and hopped over it and disrespected it for years. And I still to this day get people in my inbox, and when I go places, say, man, you know, not just thank you, but bro, you really, because to this day, Wichita is now really known.
Right.
I mean, we put out some players, Perry and them, Gavin Thurman, Jalen, I mean, just year after year, especially at East, Jawanza, Poland, I mean, it just, but to be able to, I guess what you would say, kind of like piggyback on Adrian Griffin's success, because he was the GOAT. He was my GOAT. I was like, man, I want to be like him. We used to watch him. I used to watch him on TV at Seton Hall. And, you know, so that's where I just said, you know what, that's what I want to do. Just what I want to do. And, of course, with people, good people around you, a strong community like I got, you will make it if you believe.
Absolutely. I think something that Wichita does need to do a better job of, though, is, I mean, one, just highlighting who those kids are, and then players are. Like, again, I moved to Wichita in 2001, and so I was pretty young. So, like, I kind of missed your era.
Where'd you come from?
Originally, I was from Omaha, but I moved when I was like 10. So, like, Wichita, Andover is home, but I had kind of missed that, so I'd never heard your story. But, like, there's a lot of those stories that people don't hear about. Like, Gavin Thurman, like, he was a great player, came through Wichita.
He's All-American.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, I don't know, maybe it was highlighted and I missed it, but it's like, that should be a way bigger deal. We should be, like, corralling the young kids to, like, be hyping up these guys because they deserve it.
It's kind of where, in Wichita.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I think
I'm about to say this for Wichita because I can speak for it. it's the even playing field syndrome in this area. You know, it's that even playing field push, and so you will have kids in certain situations that, I mean, he's all American, he's ranked, he's this, he's that, but you should hear about him every week. I mean, how could we not write about the best player in the state? But then they spread it out. We have to give a little bit to the area, guys. If you look at that Vite magazine, it covers more area. It covers more suburban and around Wichita than Wichita anything. I mean, they print the paper here. It's located from here, I think. I mean, I'm not going there, but
Sure.
I was always taught to take care of home. So that's why when I retired, I came back and started to teach, show, train, and just be around. One of the biggest things I felt and I thought that was big for me was I got to touch a lot of successful people. I really did. Scott Thompson, shouts out to that coach he was with at Wichita State. Scott Thompson is an older coach. Gave me my first scholarship, really. I used to walk from 24th and Lorraine in the 8th grade and go watch them, 7th grade, and go watch them play upstairs. Listen to this. Now I go get a ticket, walk through that little tunnel, walk in there, and and this is the old Henry Levitt Arena. No Coke renovations, none of that, man. I'm coming here. I used to say that. Swear to God. I never used to say I'm going to be a Jayhawk. No. When I'm going to go to Wichita State. You know why? Because those players used to come up to Mueller Elementary and play on the playground. Jamie Flowers, Big John Smith. I got to touch them. Jamie Flowers gave me a jersey. I said, man, it's over. I'm going to the league. I'm going to be better than Antoine Carr. I'm going to be better than Livingston. You know, just motivating me. No disrespect at all. That's what I was saying as a child.
Yeah.
I want to be that great. And we always talk about to this day how many hometown players have signed at Wichita State. How many leave? But the big question we never really understood was why? If he's good enough to play at Oklahoma State, if he's good enough to play the OU, we let Taj get out of here, Brendan Polk, Jawanza Poland. I can go down a list. They became All-Americans. Jawanza Poland was an All-American in the Big East. These are your Missouri Valley titles. I don't know if it wasn't a good look to recruit at home. I don't know if the alumni and the backing, what we call the foundation, which means money, was like, we want to go in a different look. The look was right in front of your face the whole time. Now, with NIL, our great athletes say, well, you know, we got to learn from Korleone Young and them. They didn't even really give them the love they deserve. And all those kids, guys that came behind him, Laverne Smith, Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown went to be All-American at Arkansas Little Rock. Played overseas for 15 years, got records from Wichita. You would have to find it in the littlest of little print about that type of player because you just look and wash them right over.
Right.
But I feel exactly like you feel. I'm passionate about that. That if you take care of home, home will always come back. Teach, train, give it back. Well, that's another sad valley of the shadow of death, but nobody really comes back. Some of our young football players are leading the way right now. Devontae Harris, the Brown brothers came back training like crazy. The big Randall, John Randall, he's training. His son is a man child, about to go to Utah, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See? He said, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Avery Johnson from Mays. Dylan Edwards at Colorado. I think this last class had about 10 to 15 guys. The kid that's going to Iowa State, 6'5", 240 pounds, dunked the basketball standing there. I mean, these kids will be drafted in the next 2 to 3 years. So like right now, Wichita should be realizing that this is how we capitalize. It's how we build what's coming. Embrace what's here now. Make them superstars. The superstars of today will touch the superstars of tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I've heard, I don't know if it's through the grapevine, but like I know like Jordan Phillips from Circle or Devontae, like
Big Devontae?
Devontae Harris.
Yeah, Jordan. Now, I forgot about Big Jordan.
Yeah, Big Jordan. So I played him in high school, and he was a big old boy back then too. But it's like, are these guys getting the love they deserve? I don't think so.
Well, this is the thing,
know,
man. When you go play, 9 times out of 10, and some people will say it, man, I kind of feel like him. Like, I just know this for me. Like, when I go somewhere else, Kansas City, Oklahoma City, Dallas, Houston, and get across country, I mean, I almost get more love when I go away than I do here.
Sure.
And, I mean, some of that, I know what it comes with.
Right.
And that's fine. I mean, we all were young. A lot of mine comes with the decision I made. It just wasn't traditional for this area. He's going to do what? Yeah. If tennis, soccer, golf, I mean, look at all these sports, NASCAR, I mean, racing. You got 16-year-old, 17-year-old endorsed, but where is basketball going to? The same concept and model. Kids are going to stay in school for 4 years now for the NIL.
Right.
Why would I leave?
Yeah.
I'm getting 1.1 a year. I mean, Coach, I think we can win the national title this next year. I'm going to stay. But here's what's the catch. If this guy coming in is more marketable, is more appealing, they're going to pay him the 1.1. And the transport portal is going to be like, and the next pick goes to, it'll be like a draft. It'll be a draft within itself.
Yeah.
Do you see where I was going? What I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to get your opinion on was the NIL. And
love it because I mean, I love it. I mean, what we went through playing AAU basketball, and I didn't, but a lot of my friends, because they competed in college athletics, and allegations and things like that just ruined their reputations.
Sure.
And I wouldn't be insanely blind to say that it didn't affect me and my sitting in front of general managers and sitting in front of vice presidents. But the truth of the fact is that those players have a civil right and a worth. And it's sad that now they're measuring it in money. A lot of kids are suffering from depression and stuff due to this, and which causes them to make sometimes irrational decisions. And because when you're not properly releasing these things, talking about these things, but still learning the curve of depression, how to stay on top of that curve. It's like a wave. Sure. You know, when you get down here, you got to stay with your technique and fundamentals to come up out of that part. But then you see when he come out, he got another one. That's when he say he just riding the wave. But he's in control of the being on the board. So it's something I learned that, life is wavy. You just want to be able to control and capitalize the decisions in between those waves to help you deal with when the wave comes. And these kids, I mean, imagine the 12th man on the bench. Good universities say, hey, listen, everybody gets the same thing. That's what I would say. Because if you're at the end, man, we're all getting $450,000, man. Kicker is. Now, kicker is is important, but I mean, we got kicker. Kicker's got a Porsche.
Right.
Kicker got a Panamera. Kicker's in the weight room now. Kicker's tatted up. Not saying that those things bring that, but what I'm saying is things have moved into a different tradition. And, before the kicker never partied with he take care of the offensive line. Now kicker's leading the way.
Oh, yeah.
Because the NIL shows worth to everyone. So you want to attract those really high value athletes because his personal NIL is totally different. But the school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think one of the first ones I heard was I think it was UT, Texas. They were offering their whole offensive line was going to get $100,000 a piece or whatever it is, which like you mentioned across the board. I'm like, that's awesome. That's
minimum,
cool.
just
minimum.
minimum.
And that's on, they can get their personal stuff or
Now, personal stuff I'm totally different.
Oh yeah.
See, here's where I encourage every athlete that I work with to think entrepreneurial.
You have to.
With your life, with your person, with your character, who you are. Not selling yourself, but keep yourself with a high value and worth and capitalize on it.
For sure.
Be involved in the community. You know how I say, if you give it, it'll come back tenfold. And that's true. And so a lot of these athletes are being rewarded for things we haven't seen.
Yeah, my brother, my youngest brother Peyton, he won a national championship at Garden City JUCO and then went and played 3 years at Missouri State. But he was done 3 years ago now. So he just missed the NIL by about a year and a half. And he's like, man, if I could have just been that close.
Because Missouri State.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a D2. That's a strong, is it?
FCS, yeah. D1, FCS.
Yeah, okay. So that football, they play South Dakota State.
Oh, yeah. North Dakota State. North Dakota.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And that is a strong. So, yeah, he missed it.
Just that much. Yeah, he was close, but. Now it's interesting. Like, I don't know if I ever watched. I watched a little bit of a friend of mine, Tiffany Bias, played at Oklahoma State. So I watched a little bit of women's basketball growing up in college basketball. But I watched the national championship this last year because it was just Caitlin Clark and LSU, and then I just saw the girl from from Louisville, Haley Van, whatever her name is. She just transferred to LSU.
Going to LSU.
And I'm like, man, again, the transfer portal, NIL, like they're like Angel Reese is already about to get paid if she's not already winning the national title and like just has like the charisma to do that. And it's interesting now they're teaming up and
you're more than a basketball player, man. And that's why I like it, because you should be able to express yourself in certain ways and doing certain things. Now this will show that these basketball players it's much more to them than what we've even been giving these guys a chance and gals a chance. But going back on talking about that real quick, what I wanted to let people across the country know, because I know how big this podcast is, that when the state colleges do well, ups the recruiting for the players in that state. Because that state will have a lot of players like LSU, some girls from LSU, from the state of Louisiana on that team, been born, bred, and fed right there in Louisiana. That contributed to the championship. So what I'm saying is put pressure on your state schools. Put pressure on them. How you do that? Stay in the gym. Make every state school offer you. You know what?
Yeah.
It's a tough road. If I could start with getting all my state schools, go to their camps. When you go to their camp, tear the camp up. Like really, if it's like, man, there's not going to be any good players there, okay, fine. Watch what I'm going to go up there and show.
Yeah.
Show the killer instinct, just do what you got to do. And then once you get and cover your state, like sometimes some kids are looking for offers and you look for in-state first. That's where you stay.
Right.
But now we already know a lot of universities are bi-coastal. They recruit. But I'm saying for a player that's looking to find a school, go to those college camps and stuff like that. Go to those camps. You almost got to market yourself. Use Instagram for the right reason.
Yep.
Do that. Trust me, it will be seen. I mean, the universities have recruiting. It takes, and they specifically look at the social media. Man, we haven't seen this kid. Have you heard about this kid? And that's how we got to go see him. And he's more than just a dunker.
Right.
I mean, how old is he? 16. He's 6'4" and a half, 6'5". He's probably going to be a two guard. So that's kind of how it works.
For sure. All right. Getting back to your career.
Right.
High school ball. I don't know if I heard this on an interview or read it somewhere, but your first game you played as a freshman, you were off the bench, but you had 27 points. And so
I didn't get to start, not just learning.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But my family went out of town for Thanksgiving. And so I don't even know what I was thinking. I just announced to coach, hey, coach, I'm probably going to be going with my family out of town for Thanksgiving. And He said, okay, yeah, well, we're going to practice. I said, okay, well, I'm going to miss that one. But so he didn't start me, taught me a little lesson,
Yeah.
checked me in real early, and then said, go do your thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Another lesson. I mean, Ron Allen, I think, again, rest in peace, but and I never knew him, but like I've heard so many good things through, I mean, what the Eagle covered, but then like stories of people that played for him. Yeah.
He was loud. He was stern, very vocal, you know, but he would teach you what and why. And so I valued him.
Absolutely.
My whole career, we always talked. And,
Yeah, that's special. A special bond. So you, I mean, having a great career up at East, what was the decision to go to Hargrave?
I was just leaning to get better test scores.
Yeah.
SAT scores, just to get better SATs. GPA was pretty good. Just wanted to up my test scores and be able to be a qualifier with no question. And so in the summer, you play in front of all the prep schools. I mean, all of the coaches travel from college, high school coaches go watch these, and prep school, junior colleges. And so there was a prep school called Hargrave that it just approached us. It was actually after the Nike camp. My junior year, the Nike camp, I did really good. And so they were like, you know, man, his senior year, what's he thinking about doing? Is he thinking about coming out? And so like, no, never. He likes Georgetown. I liked UConn, and I liked Arkansas. So I mainly went to Hargrave to get better test scores, smaller class setting, great instructors, strict discipline, getting ready for college. The discipline is and the discipline is not as far as a physical discipline.
Yeah.
It is physical, meaning what you won't be required to do. But the discipline is challenging yourself to accept this change in discipline. 5 a.m, like getting up at 5. You know, people, how do you get up so early? I've been doing this. I mean, been doing it.
Is that something you knew you needed? Or was that something that just kind of came along with it once you decided?
Opportunity came along. Said, hey, look, how's your test scores? All right, pretty good. Could be a little better. Where are you thinking about going to school? Said all the schools. It's like, you know, and you're going to need strong SAT. ACTs are all right, but you got to have that S so you can travel all across the country, the world with it.
Yeah.
So I went to Hargrave, and, man, that was it. Went there. I actually, I fell in love with it. Of course, I was homesick because I was away from home at a certain point. But once we settled in, all the postgraduates and seniors is all together. They keep all the older guys together. So I'm here with the football team. We had a postgraduate football team, so we were all on one dorm room, one barrack floor. So we just, I mean, it's fun. Hanging out with each other, like, you know, it's college kind of. So it became fun.
Yeah.
And I had a great season. We had a great team. And I just got the opportunity from there. Hargrave was something that opened up a lot of the other stuff that happened after the season. As far as being the McDonald's All-American, I think I probably would have still been one if I would have stayed here in Wichita. But this is a point where, like, there hadn't been one.
Right.
Since, was he Ricky Rose? Greg Dreiling. Yeah, Greg Dreiling. Says it was Ricky Ross, Antoine Carr, Aubrey Sherrod, Darnell Valentine, Greg Dreiling, then me. And so, what's that, 20-something years?
Yeah.
And so that's what was Hargrave was for. It was a step to make the future more realistic of my goals I had.
Sure. And what was the big goal at that point? I mean, making it to the league, but was it like, I don't know.
I had pictured I was probably going to have to go to college first.
Sure.
I mean, so going to college. I was going to refuse to sit out and be like a prop 48 and have to sit out 8 games. I didn't even want to sit out that. So Hargrave was where I went there, got the heavy ACT prepping. That's when I learned what ACT prepping was. Get ACT foundation building. tips, pointers, how to take the test, the methods,
Oh yeah,
So you scored pretty good on yours?
I did.
So, and if you were able to speak to the viewers now, you'd be able to say he's kind of right because there was a way you had to take that test.
Oh, for sure, yeah. How you approach
strategy.
It. Oh, yeah.
And so when you learn that, it's kind of like, dang, I didn't know that. And so that helped that.
Yeah, for sure. So at what point was there like you had a really good game your senior year? Like maybe I could make that jump, or like was there like a moment, or was it kind of gradual? What made you decide to actually make the decision to go pro out of high school? Then?
We just had challenges, and I'm gonna just say, like when I went there, Nike was pretty much just like, you got to dominate, dominate nationally. So I mean, just try to dominate wherever we went. Lost one game, sure did. Early on in the season, like to Washington Prep, like some last minute hurl it up, really from half court, and it went in. And but the game shouldn't have been that close anyway.
Sure.
So that was one of those lessons, and then from there I remember after them weeks of push-ups and a lot of PT, and we did a lot of physical. There I was able to get my body, at 6'7", 230, 225, strong.
Sure.
To be able to, if I did go to the NBA but this was forecasting college, just to get ready.
Yeah. So in the recent years before that, I wrote a couple down, but like KG, Kobe, Jermaine O'Neal, and Tracy McGrady were really like the recent guys, or like really some of the first. I mean, there has been some guys early
In
on.
97, it was Tracy.
And
97.
95, KG, Kobe 96, Jermaine O'Neal 96.
They were both in 96, yeah.
But like, is that kind of what you're like, okay, if they could make that jump, obviously like those are some of the greats, but like if I can make that jump,
I wasn't really saying that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I know, rest in peace, and knew Kobe, and I know Tracy. I mean, I had some knowings of Jermaine O'Neal from camps, and knew him also as well. When you see your brother do something successful, of course it motivates you, but it was never just a destination. I gotta go to the league out of high school. If I had the opportunity, yeah. Then you always tell yourself, like, man, I'm going to the league. You always tell you that. And this whole community was telling me that from young. Man, you're going to be next. And I don't know what they saw in me or what it was, but that was just something that was always with me. You're going to be special. You're going to do this, And it's the people that make you do it. But when I seen those guys doing it, it became really realistic. You compare it. We all play different. Everybody's got their own game, but I mean, say I'm just as tall as Tracy, and I'm bigger than him, bigger than Kobe. Maybe I can, Start sizing yourself up. I got a 7'4" wingspan too.
Right.
Then you're getting drafted. I mean, I entertained the thought. So the way it happened was, I made my announcement after graduation. I mean, prior to graduation, right before, because it was right before the McDonald's All-American game. And went to the McDonald's, couldn't play, as I ruptured and suffered a hematoma. And I do believe it was after, it was right after the McDonald's I made this announcement. So it's late April, we're about to graduate. So I make the announcement. So I fly back to Kansas City. I was training out of Kansas City, getting ready. Lifting weights, had a dietitian, was putting on, protein and taking as many pounds as I weigh in protein every day. 300, and I didn't weigh 300 pounds, but sometimes 300 pounds of extra, just added protein and all the things essential to being able to play at a high level. And when I made the announcement, I didn't, I was being projected in the mid-first round to late first round at first. So I was like, maybe I won't have to go to this pre-draft camp. And as time went on, I got a phone call, said, "Are you ready?" For what? What? When I get picked, they said the draft haven't even happened yet. I mean, we're going to go to the pre-draft camp. I was like, oh, okay, what's that? And then they was explaining like a combine camp. And so what really happened is I really did good at that camp. really. I mean, as far as kind of stand out, because of course I'm the only high schooler that competed in it.
Sure.
Rashard Lewis and Al Harrington didn't. Now this can break you too, though. I mean,
Right.
this could hurt you, not break you, but it could hurt your
Expose,
stock.
yeah,
It could hurt your
yeah.
stock. But I've always had this no hope fear. I mean, I don't care how old you are, where we're gonna play. Where I just asked the coach, what position am I playing? And he was like, you know, can you play small forward? Can you play? I said, yeah. I just got through playing that in high school. So can you play some power forward and mix it up? I said, oh yeah. So I wound up starting off playing some power forward. And I think, well, Larry Brown, we had to talk about this is where his interest came into me, just from this one game. And he was in Indiana then. I wish Indiana, I'm blessed to be drafted by Detroit. That was also my favorite team growing up. So I actually got drafted by my favorite team. But if Indiana would have had the opportunity, that would have been maybe more of a fit for me.
Sure.
But they chose Al. So then the picks started coming, then Atlanta came. And I had a good workout in Atlanta, really good workout in Atlanta. And I liked Atlanta too. And then Atlanta took someone. And then picks kept coming in, the 40th pick came, and then I went to Detroit, which was, a good fit for me, I believe. Of course, I mean, I made the team and whatnot. So it was never set. I've said this 1,000 times so people know. No, we never intended on going to the NBA out of high school. The opportunity just came, and it's kind of like you wake up one day and you just say, I'm going to the league out of high school. And I did. And I just kind of how the decision was made. Like, do you want to or not? I'm kind of like, I got some time. You got about 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's incredible. When Indiana and Atlanta passed you up, is like, what's your mindset? Is your heart sinking a little bit?
I was having a draft party.
Yeah.
So I had my, so the co-author of my book that I have out, he owned a bar there in the neighborhood called Backroads, right off of 13th and Vesta, across the street from the McDonald's old golf course there. And we threw a draft party there with family, friends, my agent. And we're just watching the draft. And so we just was get on the phone with some people that were at the draft because, they're going to know the pick before anybody. And so picks just going down, of course, if anybody say, oh, no, I was just calm, it's because even the first pick is wondering, dang, am I going to go first or not?
Right.
Because anything could happen. It's really one of those true things. Anything could happen. Team will tell you we're drafting you, and then they just change their mind because the opportunity became available.
Yeah.
And it could be like a crazy angle that ain't even got anything to do with you.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Your draft stock. It's just like you get caught up in a trade or you get caught up in, so it's kind of like you just keep your fingers crossed and just say, hey, the work I put in is going to put me where I belong.
Yeah, I was just watching the NFL draft a couple weeks ago, whenever that was, and it was, I think it was the Kentucky quarterback. He was supposed to maybe be the top one or two quarterbacks. Ends up sliding to the second round, but it's like maybe there's 5 or 10 teams that need a quarterback, but like if they pick a different quarterback, you might slide another 10, 15, 20 picks just because nobody else needs a quarterback.
Because nobody needs a quarterback.
Or point guard.
It's
or
not that you're
forward.
any good.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's super interesting. So you make it to the league. How do contracts work? Is it like a 1-year deal, 2-year deal? How does that?
I was drafted in the second round, so it was non-guaranteed.
Sure.
So your agent negotiate, go back and forth the team, whatever. If you make the team, that becomes guaranteed. And so that's what I had to do. I had to make the team. You have to go to training camp. They invite in probably around 17, 18 guys. And you're a draft. That year they drafted me, myself and Bonzi Wells, but they traded Bonzi Wells to Portland. Remember? So he was in Portland. And so you go to training camp. It's just like a training camp. You making the team. I mean, your drills and, 2-a-days. It's 2-a-days for a couple of weeks, and then they mile it down because into the first week, second, third week, you're going to start playing preseason games. And so this is where they see how you can pick stuff up fast, how fast you can fit into the cohesion of the team and the flow on how they play. If your skill set truly maxes up to what we're going to require you to need you to do in the games. And so, and it's just like one of those cutthroats. People, everybody wants to go to the league. They're not ready to go because they couldn't deal with what's about to come. Meaning every day you're on the wire. I don't care who you are. You don't want to get traded either.
Right.
You just got settled. You're just this, you're just that. So it's truly a business, but it's one of those real true factors in life that if you put into your business, which is yourself, what you should, you'll always be successful no matter how the outcome comes because you put your all. So.
Sure. And I think something that I've kind of read and heard about is like you competed. Like you didn't get necessarily a ton of playing time, but you competed. I mean, gave Grant Hill a run for his money on a daily basis. And
ass, I'm sorry. I mean, and that's just true.
Yeah.
Because I had the same mentality and attitude a lot worse. Not in a negative way. Challenge, fight, compete. And so I just always had that. I didn't come to ride the bench. So in practice, if they call me picking on them, but Jud Bushler and shouts out to Steve Henson he's from McPherson. He was my teammate. I got to do it. I got to do it. And so that's where I played. That was my game. And Charles O'Bannon, I had good teammates. Yeah. Good at motivating me and probably bad at to the lengths and the strengths of how they would take it. Says, some days they come in and say, hey, you got to get in his ass today. Shit, we going to New York. You got to get in his, and I literally, like the book said, and like the interviews have been written that my assistant coach said, you see how he locked Grant down today? I lock his ass up, literally, because in my heart I knew that was a mentality that I had to have, and that's why I got the respect I got on the team, because I was the young fella. I abided by all the rookie rules. Joe Dumars, got the donuts. Sports the team's a little clicked off sometimes. Yeah. So Joe Dumars was somebody that I was probably communicate with more than any of the veterans. Lloyd Vault, Bison Dele, rest in peace. Christian Leitner, Khalid Reeves, and Charles O'Bannon. We were all maybe second team and stuff like that. So we used to, it was fun. And now you're bringing it back, but that's the same drive and attitude I try to put in the players of today that I work with. I mean, no matter if it's your best friend, you should really beat him down because he's going to get better.
Yeah, it makes everybody better.
And even if it requires you at some point in time to say, look, if I don't do this, guess what it's doing to me? I mean, I'm killing us both.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So I need you to get in me more.
Yeah.
And so it's got to be that back and forth.
Iron sharpens iron, yeah. So you had 13 points in 15 minutes across a few games. So I guess where's the disconnect between getting that playing time? Like you were doing great in practice. Why are you not getting more time on the court?
I ain't gonna bash him, but it's about a coach's responsibility and coach's decision making. And I grew up with this. I mean, not grew up, but I got drafted by a tradition coach. I mean, we really didn't see eye to eye on maybe a lot of things, but one thing I really liked is that people got to read what I did in practice, not from me. You heard that from other people.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you would have to ask that question, why not? Sometimes you get on the wrong side of the coach, and that's just, that's one of those things you pay. And it's crazy when I had a statistician average my points, I would have led the team in scoring the way I scored when I got in with no time left on the clock, scoring 6 points, 7 points. I mean, it's kind of like, dang, What if he got 15 points?
Right.
I'd go for 20. I'd get 20 points because I'm going to get 10 rebounds easily. I'm going to get rebounds.
For sure.
So scoring is when kids realize scoring is putting the ball in the hoop at the closest rate, highest speed possible, meaning getting to the basket and putting it in there. The Steph Curry shot is the toughest shot, the longest shot, the slowest shot. So I just learned that. And so I would literally, a lot of plays require you to, in the rotation, take the jump shot. But as you see, like, there's some players that when they swing it to him, I'm putting my head down, boom, boom, and going airborne. Because that's challenging the back rotation, which, like a lot of times, John Hammond and Gar Kleinherd, rest in peace, he's dead. His son was also a player. He played, remember, he's famous for hitting that shot against Boston. That's him with the Suns.
Sure.
It crushed Boston. That's Gar Kleinherd. He would always say, it's not about when you score in these practices. He used to tell me things. I mean, people used to tell me what I needed to do without me saying, I knew what it meant. If you let him keep catching it, like just that, okay, bet. Lock and trail. What is he? Right-handed or left-handed? He's left-handed, okay. Like, it taught me how to guard him. You don't learn how to guard him within one season. Nobody can say master, and in the NBA game, you make stuff as tough as possible for people to score.
Sure.
And it's either done in a number of ways. Speed, staying in front of them, power, or length. Who's longer, your length against his. And so, I'm sorry, I just got deep into that.
No, that's awesome. I love
I'm tuned in now. I'm kind of.
I love it. I love it.
Take over.
No, you're good. So your rookie year ends. What happens after that?
That summer we had workouts and stuff like that. They traded my rights to the Sixers, and which was happy, but I knew it wasn't guaranteed. And then the Sixers drafted Jermaine Jones, and so they invited me to camp, and it was me, Scott Turkin, Jermaine Jones. And they drafted another kid named Todd McCullough. Do you remember the big kid?
I'm not sure.
White and redhead.
Okay, yeah.
With he backed up Matt Geiger. He's a good guy. And so it came to one of those situations, where it's like, man, it becomes a numbers thing. And so I finished the training camp in the preseason, and I got cut there. And so now this is when there was around with all the minor leagues, CBA, IBL, and those leagues like that. So I went to Richmond, which is an IBL team.
Okay.
And they had a coach named Ralph Sampson. And I think what happened with him is like I was coming from the Sixers and the NBA. So a couple of our first games, I mean, I came out killing 26, 28. And then it's kind of like I have to keep like explaining to everyone, yes, I can play power forward, but I don't have to. You don't have to put me there.
Right.
And this is where like it's one of them tough things where when you have to tell a player like you have to sometimes play where it's best suited for the team.
Sure.
So I went back to high school at a 6'7" center. So then after that year, I go to Rockford Lightning. I meet Stacey King. So he was like, I know what you've been dealing with. Talk to your agent. But we're going to show them that you can play power forward out of the triangle offense. I said, oh, really? He's like, yeah. We're going to show them that you can score. Everyone know you can score. But they want you to keep scoring with your back to the basket, backing down these big guys. I'm going to put you in the triangle offense. I'm going to put you in these two spots where Robert Horry gets all this money and where he hit those championship shots from. I'm going to put you where Kobe is coming off of that, getting that isolation one-on-one. This is how you're going to show the NBA, show them in the league how you can score from not only there, from here, from there. Because the triangle offense does not require a bunch of ball handling.
Sure.
So, all right, let's do it. So I lead the CBA. I'm Defensive Player of the Year, lead the CBA in blocks. Average like 15, 16. We go to the finals against Bernie Bickerstaff, St. Louis Swarm. To make a long story short, we lost in the best of 5 series. Of course, 3-2. We pushed them to this game 5. And that summer, I go to play in the summer league with the Lakers. And it's crazy. I think I had a good summer league. I averaged like 14 and some change playing in this offense, though. The Lakers only invite so many people to their camp because now this is the old school Lakers, this is old school Lakers. Luke Walton's in college still. I'm just keeping it real. Ain't nobody's Rick Fox. This is the Lakers. So that last championship. So I go there, play in the summer league, go back to vet camp, get cut. Then I'm like, man, I think this is where. And so Stacy convinced me to go to the CBA one more year. I went to Sioux Falls. Averaged like 16, 18, but didn't want to finish the season because this is where you just keep missing out on overseas opportunity. So I played about 6, 8 games and gave that big long knock down the hotel, you know what I mean? He's like, what do you want? I'm like, man, Stace. He's like, oh, man, don't you. I'm not going to say the words. Tell me. I said, man, But he knew the time, as a young man, professionally. Profit is something that's required. I mean, CBA, anytime you play in the United States, it's never been worth it unless you play in the NBA. Even the G League, some of those guys, you see they go overseas, go to the G League. They don't have to. They don't want to. If they want to stay in the States, but they're still able to work all kind of deals because you can treat it like NIL-ish, not coming from a school, but from private, and you can market yourself. And so that would be worth it to stay. But a lot of times overseas has been more of a better outcome for players, I think the U.S. is starting to realize that they're losing a lot, losing basketball to the world.
I think it's always been interesting. Like I mentioned, I knew Tiffany in high school, Tiffany Bias, and then like Jalen Agnew's from Andover, and she's in with the Dream, I think, right now. But like a lot of those girls go play overseas because the money. I mean, WNBA is kind of crap pay, and so they go overseas. It's like even the girls are making more money overseas. So it's interesting the dynamic of like the world game versus the USA. It is.
I mean, what women's league you have here besides WNBA? If you tax the 225, and that's a big contract in the WNBA,
right?
225. I mean, some of them would be like, "Who's making that?" You know what I mean? That's So I don't want to be insulting.
No,
but,
for sure.
But we're just going high.
Yeah,
that's what they're left with. But still, take care of family and kids. A lot of them they play, so they have to have quote unquote help. If you're not married, but he's probably a business. I mean, he's got his own endeavors and responsibilities to bring to the table as a family if she's married. So it's just the back and forth. I think the U.S. is going to realize it. Or world basketball, they're going to, I mean, it's not catching up, but we got to stay ahead.
Which, again, back to the NIL, it's interesting seeing how much some of these girls are making. I mean, I don't know what the top WNBA player makes, but some of these college girls are probably making more than the top college girls are making more now.
Let's see real quick, just to have fun real fast.
Oh, go for it, yeah. Pull that up, Jamie.
Let's see. Highest WNBA salary. It's kind of bad when it doesn't tell you right off the bat.
I think I saw the minimums
Taurasi,
like 75 maybe.
234.
Wow, yeah. Yeah, that's wild.
Salary rankings, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
Jewel Lloyd at 234.
Yeah, so just under 235 is the highest for anybody, yeah.
So that's why I said about 225 was going to be like
wild.
and that's the league minimum is 500.
Yeah. That's good. That's good. And I saw a statistic. I think it was either LeBron or Steph, which is obviously like the number one guys, but like they make more than like the whole WNBA times some amount. Like it's ridiculous. Which I mean, yeah, it is what it is. But it's wild.
Based on our data, it appears that the compensation range for a head coach at the WNBA is between $58,000 and $85,000, with the average salary of $71,000.
Wow, that's crazy. So after CBA, you play around the world a little bit. Did you have a favorite place to play? I mean, you bounced around Australia, Russia, China.
I like China. I really like China.
How long were you there?
5 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I like China. China was nice.
Yeah. Where is that?
Really nice.
I guess I don't know, China, Shanghai or somewhere where
I lived in Daxing, which is Harbin. Lived in Guangzhou, Hangzhou, south of southern China by Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. Lived in the Sichuan province of Chengdu. That's where the pandas, hot food is. Mm-hmm. Tangshan, I lived in Tangshan. That's outside of Beijing. Tianjin is the city. Mm-hmm. Huge millions. Right. Every city in China is big.
Yeah.
We only hear about Shanghai,
right.
Beijing, Hangzhou, Guangzhou.
Yeah.
Huge. Shenzhen.
Yeah.
They got some huge cities. Chengdu is, all huge. Qingdao off the coast. Like, beautiful.
Yeah.
Man, but I really like China. I really enjoyed this.
How did they treat you as a basketball player?
That's why I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Russia was nice too.
Yeah.
The basketball was great, and the people were good to me in Russia. Australia was cool. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed China though.
Yeah,
I did.
My cousin lived over there for a couple of years, or maybe 6 months. Maybe it wasn't quite a year. But he's a 6'2" white guy, and he said people were like turning heads to look at him. I'm sure you drew some heads as well.
Man, of course.
Yeah.
And when you go there, you're living there for months, so you just become part of the community.
Sure, yeah.
All little kids come running up.
That's really cool.
Kalyan. Say, hey, and you got the little markets or something, and you would just tell the translator, listen, tell them, get them a little ice cream thing. And then they give them 20 minutes. Oh, thank you, shishi, shishi. And then you're a superstar. That's how he always say, do you always do that? I said, listen, when you do that, now the people going to love you.
Oh, yeah.
And when you got the people, you in. So when you
cool.
come play our team, they really used to throw bottles, water bottles, all that. They get the rocking I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And they, like, a lot of CBA teams, the arenas aren't just downtown in the city, they're outside. So a lot of the countryside people get to come. And
that's cool.
Like other small villages around there come. And I'm talking about, they get crazy. I didn't see fights for real. You foul. I didn't see people coming to the translator all the time. Say, did you tell Korleone? I said, what is he saying? He says, he will defend you at any cost. Oh, what? What did he saying something else to him? And I said, what else he say? He's seen the disruption on the court. Disruption. Every word in Chinese won't translate into an English word. So you have to compound what he's saying. And his honor is amongst his whole family at this point, meaning he got to do it for his family. The honor, he going to do it to make his family, they tough. I said, man, tell him he's all right. We're going to wait till next game. Is he coming next game? He said, he's coming next game. He said, oh, you give him 5 or something, man. It just, not that they treated me like that. They were just good people, hospitable.
Yeah.
Peaceful.
Sure.
With me, at least.
For sure.
See, they get the games, get rowdy. They players, they play physical. You in their country, so some of them got that attitude, You're going to take over our league. So had a couple of them Grand Hill scuffles over there too, but they just come with the game.
Sure, absolutely. So kind of looking back, how do you view, or how did you then, how do you view it now, the NBA age limit? Because I remember, I think I was in early middle school maybe when I think it was like Through the Fire. It was about Sebastian Telfair, and like he was like the last guy to kind of make it to go make the jump.
They got themselves in a predicament now. I mean, NIL, good luck jumping, unless he's guaranteed to make big money. I tell you this, it's a right. You can come to play any sport whenever you want. I mean, they can make rules and regulations, but they're not for other sports. Basketball is the only sport. I mean, football is almost insane. You wouldn't want to put.
Yeah, why would you? Yeah.
You're not going to have him put him a suicide helmet on and say, "He's ready. He's so fast. Look, he's running a 4.3." Yeah.
Good luck.
Until the kicker hits him. Yeah, let him go heads up with our kicker. The kicker like fired from him. I mean, but with basketball, it's just like soccer. Freddie Adu's about my age, a little younger than me. Freddie Adu about 3-4 years younger than me. I remember Freddie. Freddie signed with DC United at 16 for the $500,000. He's that good.
Yeah.
Why should he have to go to college? For what? To blow his knee out?
Right.
Pay the kid now, and the kid did good, played all over the world, MSL legend. I mean, so I believe the age limit but they've established the G League. Okay. So what then that might happen is a bunch of high schoolers just want to come out.
Right.
So I really just feel like if they want to come out, the talent is there. Reasonable understanding of what you're getting yourself into, man.
Sure.
I don't care what you want to do. Can you do this?
Right.
Let them come out.
Yeah, I agree. What are you up to now? Are you coaching now? What are you doing these days?
So my greatest achievement is became a Shriner this past weekend.
Congratulations.
Working with the youth, pushing the programs. I'm starting with one and done. Taking just not basketball training, but combining and contrasting the two and putting them along social skill teaching. Really getting trainers and coaches to understand the vital time, the hour and a half is of pushing these social skills along with the basketball. You're not breaking practice to sit down and come talk about communication. You're showing, and you have to exhibit how to communicate. Take them through different exercises that entail on good communication, like team building things. That's social skills. That's all it is. The Army, people will see most soldiers as not being social. Amongst each other, they can work better than anybody in the world from all branches, because communication is one of the major things you got to have just amongst each other. And then what I'm doing also is I want to try to start a game alongside the Shrine Bowl game that they have. It's one of our biggest projects we're going to put forward.
Yeah.
And I think it can be very successful. I think it can become very popular just alongside the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah.
So just doing a lot of work with the Shrine, with kids, man, and that's always been my passion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is to work and help people. So
yeah, I love that.
That's what I'm doing. I'm doing some basketball training as well. Anybody that always would like to train with me, people ask me, man, I don't see you train a lot of people. It's kind of like one of those karate type things. You don't see them send out pamphlets to the dojo and stuff like that. You got to come. You got to come. And when you come meet the master, then he'll start schooling you. But you never know who's in need.
Sure.
So one thing I urge people, if they have questions, ask your coaches, your high school coaches in middle school. It should start there. That guy spends 4 years with you. Traditionally, he usually gets to know you. You build a relationship with your coach. You want to build the relationship with him. AAU basketball has pushed to where it goes through AAU, and it actually doesn't. There are a lot of AAU coaches that are very valuable, very persuasive, and very, they hold weight across the nation with colleges. Yes, of course. His validation holds weight, but they're going to always come back to your high school coach because they want to know your character, the growth, where it took for him to get here. Coach may have to say, I'll tell you what, a couple nights, got a couple phone calls, not bad ones, that were from him. You know, Coach, man, I really want this. You know, Coach, I'm just, man, I can't sleep. I want to ask you, am I taking the protein right? You know, am I supplementing right? That's when you knew the kid wanted it. Sometimes those college coaches want to hear that. So you better be good to your high school coach if you're a student athlete out there. Stay close to him, because what happens is your last decision making on where you go, it's going to go through him. You just may not know. And he's not going to be the guy that's going to cut it off. He's going to be honest. And that's why you should always be honest with your high school coaches, your middle school coaches, as well as your AAU coaches. They all three, well, once you got out of high school, once you got out of the middle school, he's over. But if you're in middle school, your middle school coach should be able to work hand in hand with your middle school AAU coach. If there's bickering and feud there, the sign is that's not the AAU program for you to be in. If your high school coach feel like any program is not a program you should be in, my mom trusted Coach Allen well enough. I only went to Hargrave because he gave me the blessing. That's true. The world knows it. People that know me will say he's not lying. They know my family. Myron Piggy, Scott Shepard, they'll tell you. If I had to get a blessing from Coach Allen. Coach Allen came to my grandparents' house and gave it. My parents understood how important he was to my growth and development in life. This far, how could you not? If the man would have said, I'm going to tell you this now, everything that they sell in there, he can do it here. We're going to do it here. No, I want him to stay, he said. And you know what? This is the time. He's almost gotten, maybe I had to be the litmus test for our city and the media and how you really supposed to expose and hype up the player. But I didn't get what I deserved here at all. At all. There was a time where it was out. Even before Hargrave, I was going to leave and go to Kansas City. I could have went to Pembroke Hill or any of those schools with Jerron. I could have played at Raytown South with my cousin Piggy, Myron Piggy Jr. But I was going to do after my sophomore year. You know, and one thing I understand with working with kids is I never make a difference. Some of the kids that's listening to this gonna hear it. I got a couple kids I named. I'll say their names because y'all don't know who they are. Poindexter and a couple Sweetwater them. I gave them names because they were special. They made the team because they were special, not because you were a good basketball player. The team needed you for the person you were. That's why I chose you, and you remained. When I had that talk with them, it broke them down. Because basketball is a combination of a family. Family got to have a little bit of everything. Everybody can't be the tough jock, big brother, I'll get him. Who's been met? No, we got power forwards. We got to have people who can, quote unquote, bridge them gaps. Teams are clicked up because personality is so different. It's really like 11 different cliques because every personality from 1 to 11 is different. With a good coach, I think, and my advice to them is to find everyone 1 through 11. Seriously. And most of the drills, you looking at the worst guy because you seeing who gonna motivate him, who gonna pull him through, who gonna, oh man, hurry up. See, who gonna do him like that? So, and then you evaluating your top guy. You want to see if you challenging the low guy on the end enough, because you got to pick your weight. We're not, no. Help him over. If it's like that big old wall we got to climb in the Army, you know how it's like they got to form the chain where I'll jump, but you got to hold my feet to brace me from not falling this way, but not him pulling you over. And then we pull you. You say, I got him. We let you go. He comes over. We lean him way down the over end. That's how that works in that drill. And that's how a team's got to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I love hearing your perspective on coaching. I think that's important for the next generation of Wichita. I think something that you've touched on either today or in past interviews is just you've achieved greatness. But what's even better than that is seeing the next generation exceed that greatness and go to the next level. And I think that's awesome.
I tell every kid I work with, this is the truth, bro. You too. Even your friends. I tell my friends this so they can stay motivated, stay encouraged at a time of falling short or confusion or any of that. Mm-hmm. I have won enough for us all, and I've lost enough for us all. Mm-hmm. All you got to do is be you. What's in your heart, strive for that. Don't strive for the status quo because that's set by somebody else. What's yours? Yours may be even far superior, or it may even surpass that. So you look within you for what you want. Every kid I work with, I tell him, don't worry about how well he does it. Don't worry about how well he does it. He got his own status quo. You got to establish yours. And then we as people, that's how we motivate each other. Mm-hmm. Because we all really learn, like Jordan was one of those people that people thought didn't talk a lot. He talked a lot of crap, but in practice, he practiced hard, and it was called constructive recognition. You can see it. It's construct right in front of me. I'm seeing him run fast. I'm seeing him bust his tail. It gravitates. Mm-hmm. Everybody does it. So when you bust your tail at work, somebody else is going to do it. Don't think that, how some people say, oh, no, I don't want to show them up. That's the worst trait to have in sports. Mm-hmm. You want to show everybody up, not to show how well you can be, to show them how well they can be if they work this hard.
Sure. Yeah, I love that. I just got one more question for you. I asked this one to everybody.
Why I wear a cowboy hat now? Oh.
Yeah, that was the one. The
loose cowboy hat.
There you go.
Cushing, Oklahoma, man. I'm an
go.
only child. My grandparents raised me. Okay. My mom, I was raised in my grandparents' house. It's only a 2-minute story. Every other weekend, both my grandparents are from Cushing and Brooksville. Mm-hmm. Cushing, we heard of that, was the oil, where the oil center of Oklahoma right there. Brooksville, 16 houses, country, cowboys. Mm-hmm. That's all I grew up seeing my whole life. I'll show you a picture real quick, and you're going to say, wow, this is why I wear the cowboy hat. Because the man that raised me, I seen him wearing this thing every day. It was crazy. Here you go. I never can find it when I need to find it. Here it is, right here. They're probably like, man, he got a lot of people in his phone. No, just got a whole bunch of pictures everywhere, like pictures from 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. So that's the guy that raised me. I don't know if the camera can get a good vision of that, if you can zoom in, but that's why I wear that cowboy hat.
There it is, yep, cowboy hat.
That's me in the 6th grade. Going to the 6th grade, I was in the 5th, going to the 6th grade.
Uh-huh. That's a great
picture. We in
picture.
Cushing, Oklahoma, going to a rodeo.
That's a great picture.
So I done reincarnated my grandpa in me.
I bet a lot of people
don't know that. He's one of the best men I knew, man.
That's awesome.
Raised me.
Carried on. I love it. Last question. What does Wichita mean to you?
Wichita, you know I love you. And you know I hate you sometimes. That's just life. I'm just joking. Wichita is the place of peace. I mean, you come here and raise your family, man. And sometimes I said what I said about hating Wichita because sometimes the news and then the rest of the country sees a side of this city that's not our city. Isolated incidents cause reasoning for people to judge in a different way, man. This city, you come raise your kids here. You come establish friendships here. I have friends that moved here that I didn't even know before. White, black, Hispanic, Asian. This is a place where you can come and get the best education in the country, in the middle of the map. Everything. We have a little bit of everything here. Wichita was just home for me. Could never, I'm going to say it probably, man, I could never live anywhere else. I lived all around the world with different people from those countries, and I never found people better than the people here in Wichita. And that's real. And they'll say I'm saying it because I'm from here, but from the person that thinks he hates, from the person that thinks he hates for this reason, all you do is find a reason to love that person. In Wichita, man. There's no barriers here. They're invisible. They really are, because a person will welcome you in their home if they don't know you. If you need help, it's cold. I mean, these things have happened to me. Help me with a tire. 2 people. You know that saying, they say, do the test. Have 2 people act like the car stopped. One person has got it in neutral, struggling, trying to, and then the other person is just sitting in the car looking, texting. Who the people gonna stop for first? The person that look like they're helpless, or the person that's trying to help themselves?
Sure. Yeah.
And Wichita is that people. Man, if you try, they'll build it for you. They'll finish the project for you. So Wichita is my home. Wichita is where I walk forever. Support, claim, and of course push people to move here. The air capital of the world. We got good basketball. They talk about Kansas City barbecue. We got good barbecue here too. We got one thing better than both those things, man. We got good people here. We got the best people, I think, in the United States of America. People come here and say, I never knew it. Kansas? Well, then quit driving right by, going to Oklahoma City and Kansas City. Stop through here. If you're going through I-70, we've 100, an hour and 10 minutes from Salina, right? You come down an hour and 10 minutes, you won't regret. Bypass, come through Wichita. You'll keep coming.
Korleone, appreciate you coming on. Where can people find your info on your camp, your book?
Oneanddone.com. One and Done on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And you can locate me there for training. Got all the information.
Perfect. And I'll be sure to share that. But again, thank you, sir. Appreciate
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Good.
I love this podcast. If you didn't know, now you know. You need to subscribe, tune in, stay on board.
Appreciate it, Korleone.